their own certain way, for sure.
Did Judy ever resolve things with her father?
No, but I do want to bring that up too. That was like possibly, and maybe that's just like a sign of the times, and that's like how you show affection during that time. But I think it's so weird that the dad's like, Judy, girls don't ask like their dad to like do that anymore, like at this age or whatever. And Judy's like, why? I can't kiss my father? And I don't know, it's just like it was so strange, and like how the dad was so weirded out by like showing the daughter affection. He was like, fathers don't show daughters affection when they get, like turn 16. I was like, what? So
and then
odd.
she ran off, and he goes,
Like he made it seem like he like had a crush on her, and he was trying to like not have a crush on her.
Yeah.
Like, it was weird, Like
he goes, hey,
Oh
glamour
my God,
puss, I'm
Judy,
sorry.
stop it.
right. It's like, Judy, come on, I'm
Wait,
married.
So when that happened, didn't right after that she go to the chicken game?
Yep.
I wonder if she was just like playing the ropes, just like knowing what she was doing, like just stage a freak out to then be like walk out the door like I'm leaving, and they're just like, oh, she's got to blow off some steam.
You know what?
But
If
she's
she
actually
did, she's a finesser,
going to the game of chicken to watch her boyfriend die.
right?
Also, she switched from her boyfriend to...
I wanted to talk
you go
about
about it. You
this.
went to
Yeah,
it.
no, go.
Yeah,
Like,
she switched so fast. Like she kisses Buzz and then walks over to James or Jim and
just gives him some dirt.
give him some dirt, but like there's a little flirtiness over there.
Yeah.
A little flirty, dirty,
Yeah, and then Buzz just drives off a cliff, casually, and then
she's with him.
Yeah,
holds
she
his
drives
hand a little
home
bit,
with him.
strokes his hand a little bit. Was all happy.
Really
Which is
weird.
like it's only okay because they had like the lingering eye effect. So in the first scene, he looks at her and you can tell that he likes her from the start.
yeah,
and then
there were the
and then
signs.
she like looks at him without him noticing, and in the jail as well.
And she,
So I don't know. I mean, definitely like your boyfriend just dies. Why are you going with this new guy that you kind of like have a thing for? It's kind of weird. But I also think before you bring up your point, I think it's so strange too. When she gets out of the car, he like grabs her like bonnet and pulls her close. Like, you gonna be okay? And like it's like super sexual the way he does it. And like she's like, yeah. And they leave and like she's good. She's chilling.
And he goes, I bet you're a real yo-yo.
Yeah.
The lingo, like the old time slang is so funny.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it's pretty wild, especially because like obviously like getting called a chicken at such
Glamour
a different.
puss.
What?
Glamour puss.
Yeah.
Puss.
Glamour puss. I was like, wait, what?
But yeah.
I'm so sorry.
It's funny that it just has different connotations back then, because like I don't know, getting called a chicken now would definitely not upset people the way it did to him.
Oh, also on the game of chicken, I really liked this. When they're about to do it, and like Buzz shakes Jim's hand, and Jim's like, "Why do you do this? Why do you do this anyways?"
Because we have to.
And Buzz goes, "Well, you gotta do something."
Yeah.
Because like that's just like like you were saying, the times were just so different. It's like the 1950s.
Right.
You're in high school. I mean, there's still nothing to do now, but like, you're like back then they were just like, fuck it, let's drive some cars off a cliff.
Right. It's also kind of funny too because during that scene later on, he goes, "I like you." like,
I like
like you miss that like he like thinks he's like a cool kid or whatever. He's like, yeah, it's just like something we got to do. It's like no, it is. It's high school. We gotta have beef with someone, I guess, and you happen to fit the bill.
Gotta be a man.
Yeah, but also really funny. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but while I was watching it, the scene at the observatory when they're outside after and they get into the knife fight,
Yeah.
going back earlier into the movie now. I think it's really funny if you notice Plato when they're done fighting, his whole body is circled around in blue, like it was totally like green screened in, and you can totally see it in the movie. It's pretty funny.
I
What
didn't
scene was this
notice.
again?
This is right after the knife fight. Like there's one shot of Plato with like the California background
Really?
behind them, and he's like literally in blue. It's like you could like see like there's like a blue like highlight literally
That's
around
so
his whole
funny.
body. It's
That's
so
so
funny.
Yeah. Also, and we kind of mentioned this, but like the fact that Judy and Jim, like they met each other like earlier that day, maybe the night before technically in the police station, but they were like, "I love you," and like that's
Right at
like
the end.
very. That's what I'm saying. Like very play like, and I also thought,
It only falls a day in the life. This
Yeah.
is all one day.
yeah, very play like the like Tennessee Williams or Arthur Miller kind of play. Like I don't know
Right.
if you guys read that stuff in high school, but it's very similar to that. And also,
Yeah.
also,
What's All My Sons?
all my
That's
sons.
another-
I think Tennessee Williams. What's
I like all my
Glass
songs a lot.
Maginot?
That was a good
Glass
point.
Maginot.
I don't remember
Yeah.
that.
Death of a Salesman. Those kind of it's kind
Yeah.
of that same
Mhm.
kind of like vibe, kind of like literature in a movie.
Right.
Also, the acting I gotta say was some of it was like kind of overacting because I think they're used to like the play
Right.
where they're projecting to the audience, but
Well,
it's more like for the screen.
Yeah. really interesting that you say
Yeah.
that because James Dean's character doesn't actually ever cry. Like, he cries in the movie, but, like, no tears ever come down his eyes, which is very play-esque, too,
Yeah.
you know?
There are points where it's like, oh, this is a bit much. But overall, I think his acting job was like incredible.
Yeah, I think I like literally thought that there's so many things in that movie that relate to now still.
Yeah.
Like, even though it's like dated aspects of the movie, like overall the message and what they were going for still heavily relates to people in high school today. I feel like
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, like I don't know what 17-year-old would talk like that,
Right.
but it's drama.
Or
It's
get into
dramatized.
like a poking knife fight, but like you know what I mean, like
Well, that I can see.
well at least not in our town.
Yeah, not for us.
But yeah, I know there was so much that like was relatable. I think and still is, which I honestly think also maybe why he's such a well-known actor and like well-renowned because along with his tragic death, the work that he was in like holds up today.
This must be like, I mean, obviously there's like always coming of age stuff like Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer was a coming of age
Mhm.
book and stuff like throughout time has definitely been coming of age, but this like might be like the first modern coming of age movie, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Like,
I honestly think too, like, I feel like for the most part too, like, yes, it was dramatized, but I don't want to say like the realest I've seen of coming of age movies, but I feel like for the most part, all like the newer coming of age movies are very much so like, I don't know, they all follow the same plot line, and I think this one was just cool because it was just different, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, so if we go to the mansion scene too, go back to that, I guess.
definitely an interesting plot line. I was gonna say.
Yeah. Do you guys think the mansion scene, and especially when they're like playing house, do you think that like signifies? That's what I was trying to say. Like kind of like a point where they all break, like a mental break, you know, like their like sanity's kind of broken at that point. Like they already know that they're in trouble, and like they're just kind of they've lost it. Kind of like they're like playing house, they're like pretending like nothing's happening.
I think Judy and Jim, they were kind of mocking their parents and at the
Okay.
same time kind of like maybe like getting ready for the future a little bit in like kind of a non-serious way.
Right.
But I think for Plato, he was fulfilling a fantasy.
That was the real deal.
Yeah, so like he was
Right.
he was not joking there.
Plato wasn't playing around.
Also,
Oh, poor kid.
Plato found that house before, and that's why James knew of it, right?
Yeah, when they were
I
at the
don't-
observatory, like pointed it out. He was like, "See
Oh.
that? We could sneak over there, and nobody would know."
That's what they were talking about. Okay, because I like must have missed that like a little bit, but I was like, I heard on the screen where he was like, "That's what we go over there," but I didn't know what he was
Yeah.
pointing at. So that makes sense now.
And Jim was like, "Who lives there?" And he said, "Nobody."
Got you.
You know,
Okay.
here's a theory. Maybe that was his old parents' house.
Were they
Maybe.
rich?
I mean, they don't mention it. They're
Well-
like by the observatory in L.A., so who knows?
But I don't know because when he goes back to the house, he kind of like, I think he grabs a gun too because of this, but he opens a letter that's from his dad, I think, and it's like money for the kid,
What?
and then he crumples it up and then just kind of takes the gun and goes.
That's another thing where I thought he was a little like maybe schizophrenic because he was kind of he like made a bunch of stories about his dad and like maybe he was kind of
Right.
living in a fantasy world because like there's one he said he was living in the China Sea, he died in the China Sea, and there's
Right.
another point where he said he like was a meat guy, he was like doing like deli or something, and
He's a meat packager.
yeah, in like Manhattan or something similar to that, which is like he's just kind of living in this whole fantasy world or something. I don't even
Yeah.
know. Maybe his parents were around. He just like was just they weren't like
Well, the
available.
mom was right. The mom was definitely around.
That wasn't his mom though.
No, I know that wasn't
Yeah, I
his
guess
mom.
that was
but-
his foster mother.
yeah,
The mom lives there, but he.
right.
also, I just
we
wanna-
never saw her, but
quick
it was
point-
said that she
Quick
lived there,
point
right?
for 1955, very progressive, and that's one thing about this movie I like because it ages well. I think.
Yeah, for
Like it's
sure.
not a whitewashed cast even for 1955. So good
Right.
for that movie for sure.
Well,
Definitely could have more diversity. I
the
think
one black woman was
the maid or the housekeeper, maid.
housekeeper.
Yeah,
maid.
but I mean,
Not-
honestly, she does
not
have
the
kind
best,
of a bigger.
but-
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it
Well,
is pretty
I thought she was like a
whitewashed
foster mother
cast.
though. I thought
but-
she was like the mother, foster mother.
I don't
No,
think
no,
so. I
she
think
works
the
for the
mom
family.
lives
Oh,
there. She works
well, I take my point back.
But I don't know. Even to that point, I will say to give you a little credit back, the housekeeper does have like a big role in the movie. She is one of like the bigger actresses in the movie, besides obviously Judy. I would put her on the same. She
Yeah.
gets the same amount of lines as like the mom, Jim's
Yeah.
mom. So I mean,
And she's like the best motherly figure of the
Generally,
bunch.
Yeah, for sure.
for real.
Even though she's not actually anyone's mom,
Also,
she cares.
talking about moms, so Jim's mom, I don't know why. So, why did he like think that she was like too much? What did she do? Like, I get that she was like kind of like a lot at times, but
He's talked about how like his dad just like put up with all her stuff, and
Okay.
and she and like her and her mother like tore him apart,
right.
Yeah.
and he felt bad for his dad, I guess.
Okay.
I think his mother wanted perfection, and his father,
just wanted him to be happy, but
but like was just
didn't have
too,
like a backbone type
yeah.
deal.
So I think it was the issue with his parents.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's also kind of cool too that we see.
It reminded me of were you midpoint?
no, you go.
Okay. Yeah, have you ever seen Tim Robinson's I Think You Should Leave,
Yes.
the sketch show? You know the skit where they're at the magic show and the guy brings him up on stage. The guy's on a date with his wife. And like he brings him up on stage and like part of the show, like the magic show, he kind of makes a fool of him.
Right, you're just making fun of him.
And then they're in bed and the wife's just like, why did you let him make you look like a fool? Like she
Yeah.
freaks out about the magic guy making like jokes at him.
Goes back the next week too, right? To the show again. It's so funny.
She's like,
Also, great show.
she's
Shout
like,
out that show.
she's like, listen, we will continue our marriage until the kids are out of high school, but I will not respect you. And he's like, what?
No, literally, that low-key is the dynamic of the mom and dad in this movie. I really think
Also,
it really is.
also, I think Jim wants to take accountability for his actions. Like when the
Right.
kid dies in the car crash, he wants to take accountability, and his parents act like they want like the best for him and be all ideal, but they
Right.
don't actually. When it comes down to it, they don't want him to actually do the right thing. They just want to like do what's easy. And
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
why he's like, I'm not running
Right.
anymore. I'm staying here. Like we're gonna face my problems.
A lot of times, I don't want to generalize parents, but I feel like when people get older, they tend to care more about what other people will say.
Right.
So they're worried about like, oh, what will people say if like our boy's involved in this? So that's why they're like, no, you can't be involved
Well,
in this.
that's
But Jim
honestly-
wants to stand up and like do the right thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a thing too. Like I don't know. The mom kind of aggravated me in that aspect where like when that happens, she kind of makes it about herself. When he's like, I want to like confess to being there when Buzz dies, and she's like, you don't think I've like lost enough sleep over this stuff? And it's like it's not
Yeah.
about you at that point, like you know. Which I think that
Like,
honestly,
a kid just died.
right,
Have Some
right.
empathy.
Yeah, and I think that goes on too to like his, to Jim's character's point too when he's like, he's talking to the cop at the beginning, I believe, and says like he's going crazy because of his parents because they say one thing and then flip flop on what they're saying, and go back, and it's, I don't know, it kind of,
You're
I think,
tearing me apart.
yeah, I don't know, it just kind of
So
seems
dramatic.
like parents like, I don't know, it seems like parents are like, although we look at them as these like people that have it all figured out and know what's going on, and they do for the most part, I think it kind of was the movie's way of showing that parents are people too, you know.
Kind of an interesting message for the 1950s. I feel like parents were kind of looked at as like follow their rules and like
Right. Another reason why it's kind of progressive. I feel like they were
Yeah.
breaking just from a lot of the stereotypes, especially
Yeah.
of the 50s.
exactly. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts.
Final thought, I would say I do like my own little personal rating. I give this movie like a 9.2 out of 10. I really think that is
the 9.3.
not a 9.3.
Really? Okay.
I think there's some room for where they could have done like better things, but I genuinely think this is like an A- movie. Like this is a must-watch movie. I think. And I think that anyone that watches it will really see like,
Yeah.
even if you're younger and in high school, definitely, you might not. It might not be as impactful for you in high school. I don't know. Maybe.
Well, it's a high school movie. I think it's the best time to watch it.
Yeah.
I
maybe.
watched this
Yeah.
movie for the first time my sophomore year of high school.
Okay.
And I mean, like within the American zeitgeist, this movie is like very, very near the top of being like just like we said before, iconic.
Yeah.
I agree. I give it an A- movie.
Also, great word, zeitgeist. I like that.
Thank you.
First time I heard that was in college my freshman year. I had no idea what it meant, so it's pretty sweet.
I'm not gonna
We're
give it.
expanding
I'm
the
not gonna give it a
vocabulary.
grade because I don't want to give it a grade. It's because like a movie's like kind of up for interpretation. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
But anyway, this definitely makes me want to watch more old movies.
Right.
Because I think it's really interesting, like just seeing these actors, like people who like are like long gone, like just completely different time.
We should do some Roman, not Roman, or maybe